There, we have some more here. We'll just do this one here. Yeah. Yeah. We have a bunch of those gnarly looking things, don't we, Drew?
Every single day.
Every single day.
Every single day.
This is the kind of stuff you guys are getting out. And I'm so proud of you that you're working this nasty, plaqued up mucus, black stuff, chronic putefactive protein material,
Nasty.
starch, glue,
Nasty.
nasties. Thanks, Drew.
You're welcome.
It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's all kinds of pictures we get in here to show you. But it just shows you what accumulates in the human body and why detoxification is important. A lot of people don't realize chemical residues. Oh, hello, by the way. Hi, my dear ones. But people don't realize that the type of fuel you burn, and men that are, or ladies that are in mechanics well know this, that there's residues building up from all burns. From all combustion, all ionization, oxidation, all these processes, even all the Krebs cycles, the digestive cycles, all these cycles create acid spin-offs all around. Like CoQ10 is just a spin-off on the Krebs cycle. So there's cycles that always leave chemical residues. How does the body deal with these chemical residues? That's an important question, because it's the same question you would ask if you had a house built and you said, okay, here's my kitchen, okay, and this is I want a big refrigerator, and this is a big nice sink, and this is my kitchen. Now, what about the bathrooms? Nobody builds a house without bathrooms, and neither does God. So there is bathrooms in the human body, and this is the one that medically is probably the most elusive for them. As we've discussed in past videos, they found a new lymphatic system, dubbed the lymphatic system in the brain. Obviously, there's more of these lymphatic systems that tie everything together to the kidneys and skin. So there's just a massive amount of ignorance within the lymphatic system. And even the body's exhibits that travel from China do not expose the lymphatic systems. And this has been the greatest downfall, I think, of the allopathic community, is the lack of understanding of acidosis, what happens under that moon or that sky, and of course the lymphatic system and its major job in the human body. And so it's vital that each and every one of you understand your sewer system in the body, and it's not difficult, it's easy. Kids can understand that they have a sewer system. They go potty, but what are they eliminating out of their body? Well, it depends which end, right? And that's what's important. We can teach our kids in very simplistic ways. And I think it's vital that we keep it simplistic. I'm not going to give a name to this because I don't know if it's okay that I give a name to these pictures. But it's enough to say, good job getting them out. There's all kinds of stuff that builds up in the human body. Look at the cancer cells and all the protein build up around it, and the acid build up around it, and the mucus trying to protect the cell, even though the cell wall is HDL. So you have protection, lipid protection in the body, but that only goes so far, you know, and humans just push it way down the road. And so we're seeing extreme, I'm sure nature is observing extreme genetic changes within the cell that, of course, has never been seen on this planet ever. So we're at a level of mutation and genetic weaknesses that's shocking. And we have to wake up to that fact. And what does that mean to our health issues? And why is there so much inflammation everywhere? Because at the bottom line, whether it's fibromyalgia, that's pain all through the body and the muscles, you've got your lupus and Lyme's, which is the same friggin' thing. It doesn't matter what the factors are in the body, whether they're rheumatoid factors. You know those with Lyme's have been treated with antibiotics so much, never affects them, only makes them worse. So you just keep on going into these things. And some of this stuff is a little out there in diagnosis. Some of these diagnoses are ridiculous. Not everybody's bit by the Lyme, let me tell you. You have to wake up to that fact, that there's a lot more going on in that. And if you could use the word systemic, and systemic means head to toe, acidosis. There's only two sides of chemistry we discuss quite frequently. And it's easy to understand the nature of those two sides simply by trying these acids or bases out, whether you eat a handful of grapes or whether you take a little sip of Drano. For those that don't want to take a little sip of Drano, I would suggest never do chemotherapy, because you're not taking a sip of Drano, it's being infused in you. So, this was a request here about doing videos, shorter, and videos on specific conditions. And we've thought about that ourselves and definitely going to do that. I'm really just trying to help out with question and answers, but you know, the simplicity and the embarrassing part of this is health is simple. Why would you come to a place that one can't achieve health because it's too complicated? The Creator, which made everything so gorgeous and beautiful, made it impossible to be healthy. That's all bull crap. Again, we've been steered and dumbed down and taken into areas that's ridiculous, and now it's gained so much power that it can't even get out of the way of itself. And of course, things like that crumble in time, and then things are exposed. But it's how consciousness is lifted up, actually. Interesting enough how so much of life has to be in turmoil for growth to happen. Interesting, you know, it's just interesting to step back and watch the worlds of God, because this is creation. And watch how creation adapts and grows with that, and how it works from the mind to the emotions to the physical and all these different aspects that you're using while you're experiencing your stay on planet Earth. Lovely out there. But you're right on with this. I definitely need to do some of these things to just continue the present in-depth case review. I'll try to do both of them. I'd like to even do some more neat stuff, but I have to give me some ideas of what you'd like, because really I'm just here as an educator to try to plug you into some truth there, both spiritually and physically, even though you can't really divide those two or separate those two. That wouldn't be possible, but just as a form of discussion. So I don't know. I'm going to do both of these. I think that for many of you, cases are important. For those that are healing others, to show you the interconnection. And if you think this is simple and it's all connected, I love you. You're right. You know, that's the problem. Try keeping your world simple. The mind keeps coming in and wants to complicate it. But, and, or, all these little terms that mean that you don't get it. Because there's one thing, and I'll say this, a lot of you are playing in some levels that even I have never played in. So it's really interesting, like dry fasting. I've never done a lot of dry fasting. Caution to the wind only for those that are very toxic. Get a picture of your eyes. Iridology is such a beautiful science, and if we're not careful, it'll die away. And I don't want it to die away, because it's such a, look at what you can see in the human eye. It's amazing. So we don't want anything like that to die away. Matter of fact, I excite many of you to become iridologists and work in that field. If the allopathic and the chiropractic and everyone out there in these different modalities would understand the need and the amount that we can see from the iris. Your jobs, many of you could be iris analysis. You could be an iridologist and do a good living that way, because this would help the practitioner to understand his client or her client better. So just important things to think about. But it's such fun to do the iris work on people and look at each and every one's uniqueness. Some of them are kind of, some people have some tough roads to hoe, and the journey can be long in that way. Some of you are working hard to get your health back, and not always at the snap of the finger, and yet some, with those strong constitutions, you guys get your health back at such a rapid rate, it's shocking sometimes. Some of you guys have shocked me to how fast you got your health back. Others are working hard at that. You're doing well. The body's realigning. But you're working from a high, dehydrated, acidic state. When you do that, your calciums are low. It doesn't matter what your blood work shows. You know your body uses calcium as an antacid. Well, this makes hips fragile, bones fragile, connective tissue sags. So you've got all kinds of things. For those with fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme's, tend to lose calcium at a very rapid rate because you're so systemic acidic. You just have acids built up everywhere, and this is very serious. These are chronic level problems that take a while to reverse because you've got miles of interstitial spaces. And this has to be hydrated, the kidneys filtering, the adrenals up and running, all these things going on. Everything is beyond doable, as you see. It might take you a year, 2 years from some of the extreme cases, and maybe even longer in some of the extreme cases. But I think that what's important is to understand attitude. Attitude plays a huge role in everything, and of course that's almost your karmic print. But it's almost important just to separate yourself from your bodies, from your mind, from your emotions and your physical body, and keep yourself in your happy place, in a place of security, and it's a place of love and divinity, a place where you just love the flowers of nature. You see all life interfaced. It's hard to see that when you're using the mind because the mind individualizes and separates and isolates. Where all life comes out of the one, the mind's job is to individualize it and to send it on its own journey. Well, you have to awaken up out of that process in terms of consciousness. And so it's just, to do that, you must go beyond the mind to do that. And it's not difficult because you only use the mind. It's an instrument of thinking and of thought. But it is not awareness. Awareness comes from you. You're the magnificent being of a pure awareness and consciousness. There's no definition to that because there's no physical form to that. You can't address the formless using the formed because the formed isolates. It's individuals and compressed atomically into forms. But consciousness is all-invasive. It's everywhere. There's no form to it because it's pure intelligence, pure energy. Hard to define that. It really is. It'll be easier almost to channel that and to become that. But to become the force, to be, like it says, become the force, Luke, or trust in the force, become the force. Become that which you want to experience. And if you want to experience something that's infinite, then you have to become infinite yourself. Well, you already are that, so you only have to be what you already are. Confusing terminology in the sense that the mind is that differentiating factor that takes you out of the now into thought, thinking, and into then creating your desires. Your emotional body is tied to your adrenal glands, of course, and that is your emotions. That drives thought. If you want a new car, you can't have it unless you first think about it. You must create that which you want. So you've had many other souls creating things, and all you have to do is observe that. Oh, I'll take one of those. Thank you very much. Now you have to get the emotional component. How bad do you want that? And then are you going to move that physical body into working to make the money to buy that? So it's all that how creation kind of works in that way. Reversing that, of course, is how you experience the Godhead here. Okay. Dear Dr. Morse, I am new and I am so happy I found you and your team. Thanks, my friend. All of you are just marvelous and so refreshing from the ignorant medical people. Thank you so much, but this is so true. And I don't mean this as a slander to them, by the way. This is factual. And it's not about slander. It's about you need to get your act together. Because we can't just massively kill people over some bogus concept of diseases. And I wanted to get into that, and maybe I will as we can turn into this, how they see everything as causing symptoms or caused from diseases. From diseases. If you don't understand chemistry and physics, the main sciences of life, I don't know how you can come up with anything else, because there's cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect driven. And of course, everything is duality, positive and negative. There is nothing that you experience you haven't created. It's just the way it is. There's no such thing. These are just names of symptomology or symptoms that some medical doctors stamp their name on. Kind of like in law, there's a different nomenclature or different dictionary, shall I say, in medical terminology as they're in law, as they're in Webster's. And I think the importance is that if you are for the folk and you're trying to develop a love with your people and everything, then everybody speaks the same language in terms of law and your health fields and stuff like that. To speak over people is rude and narcissistic and not necessary. Everyone is easy to understand why there's pain, why there's inflammation, and what side of chemistry does that fall on. You know, chemistry rules everything. You don't have to go into this complicated concepts that tell you the truth. Most of these concepts and theories are fallacies. Obviously, none of them work because nobody gets cured that way. And you're stuck on chemical medications that have toxic side effects mostly for the rest of your life. And of course, the cause is just continuing to get worse and worse and worse. And this is why nothing stays the same. You're going to go down sometime. As opposed to the refreshing side of understanding life is simply a balance between, or a flux between, the two sides of chemistry of acid and base. And that when you experience pain and inflammation, the acid side of chemistry is building up inside of you over the base side. Therefore, dehydration sets in, inflammation, that sort of thing, to deal with these acids. You don't have to go too far. There's not a lot of chemistry that you have to scratch your head at, except what you breathe. There is some chemistry in the air, of course, that's not too good. We talked about that. The air is getting more and more acidic through the years, and we're keeping hard to keep paint on cars for any length of time because acids are corrosive. Same thing internally. Well, you have protection on the outside of the cell. Remember, your bodies are just a bunch of cells grouped together to create tissues. These tissues are grouped together to create organs or glands. Well, then you have a pipe system that hooks in a wire system that hooks everything together. You got nerve wires, electrical wires everywhere. So there's your nervous systems. You got two of them. You got the worker bee, the autonomic, controlled by the adrenal glands, of course, comes together in the stomach and solar plexus. That's the autonomic brain. And then back to the cerebellum. You got the central nervous system. So it's simple. And then you've got pipes, like PVC pipes. You've got pipes that go everywhere for water, but this is blood, taking nutrition to everybody. And then this is the kitchen, you know, all served up by the liver and stuff. So we have our kitchen. But now, all the cells, this is good, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, we got to eliminate our waste. And this is where everybody must understand how simple this is, and the fact that when you stop eliminating waste, when you break down your eliminative organs, nobody's happy. When you get constipated and can't poop, it doesn't take long to get a headache. It doesn't take long to get gassy and bloaty. It doesn't take long to get cramping pains from spasms. It doesn't take long to do that, does it? What about blocking your massive cellular waste, your skin and your two kidneys? That when you look at the size of the kidneys and you look at the skin, these are massive amount of elimination happening in these tissues. And when that does not happen, there are serious ramifications, and that is the backing up of sewage in the human body. Sewage is just acidic, but it's also acidic on the streets of New York, on the streets of Tampa. It doesn't matter where. If the sanitation department doesn't pick up, nobody's happy. And this is just what's going on in everybody. You can call it fibromyalgia, you can call it Lyme, you can call it lupus, because what is happening, you're building a medium of toxicity, a medium of putrefaction, especially those that are eating the proteins, and especially dead animal proteins. You're building all this putrefactive proteins that causes mucus within the human body. And of course, everybody knows that a lot of the symptoms of cold and flu and all these are simply mucus discharge. Bronchitis and pneumonia, they call all these names, and it's just eliminating what you put in there. It's just your body eliminating the mucus from the dairy products or the abrasive proteins from other foods. Your body mucosa responds more to proteins than any other form of chemistry. It can respond to habaneros and hot things too. And this mucosa produces mucus. This mucosa goes all the way down and out and lines a lot of tissues, vaginally, everywhere. And that is your protection. That's your lymphatic protection against the cells of the tissues there. And mucus is a protective, this is a lipid-based protection, but we're not supposed to eat the foods we are, so the mucus buildup would be very, very minimal and very easy to discharge. So many people are so loaded full of mucus, and then it becomes masses in your lungs. And this is what you see when you start detoxifying. You see mucus coming out your nose, your ears, your mouth, your eyes. You see it coming out vaginally. You see it coming out rectally in your stools. Tons of mucus in your urine. Where's all this coming from? That's your sewer system. That's your lymphatic system. And that's the system that's backed up in you because you've been eating foods that are not harmonious to the internal environment and physiology of the Homo sapien. That food might be good for billy goats or omnivores, but not for frugivore Homo sapiens. We've eaten it, but take a look at the health of the human race. You can't, I don't know if anybody's taken a look, but the humans are in extreme trouble. Allopaths are way out of their league. They have no clue. And this is especially the sad thing is true with the children and genetic weaknesses, both in the digestive system and both in the neurological system. It's a friggin' mess. And the lymph system, of course. I mean, it's a mess what's going on out there. And that's why you beautiful souls are vital to this world, to help open up and get people to start thinking to eat their foods raw, unfired, that death occurs when you cook, when you heat, when you ultra-pasteurize, and yet you see everything is geared. There's so much fear-based in the allopathic community. They're fear-based. They're afraid of virals. They're afraid of bacteria. They're afraid of everything. And through their methods, they're creating strains that are the big boys. Look at Morse. This is all antibiotic created. So this is just an out of control, a lack of understanding of spirituality. This is important. I don't care in academics. I'm a big fan of academics, even though I talk caution. You must infuse academics with spirituality, or you develop a narcissistic elitist attitude. And that doesn't serve you well because that keeps you karmatically bound to this world. If you guys like to return here and enjoy what's going on here, fine. But I think you get the picture. Some of you are here going to go through some hell, but when you get on top of it, you're going to be the divine ones to help show the rest of the world what it takes to get well. Some of you are in really bad shape out there, and you can get those bodies back. I don't care if you're a quad in a chair, or you're gnarled up with RA or lupus or Lyme. It doesn't matter. Acids will take you down. It'll mutate your body, suck the calcium out of it, dehydrate you, dry you up, burn you to death until you go back into the fetal position and out you go. During that time, you lose your mind, you lose your emotions, you lose your happiness, and someone else starts taking care of you. And that is a sad state of affairs, and we're all creating that ourselves. This isn't something flying around God's doing. This is totally man-created. And you can uncreate this. Thank you. Thank you. You can uncreate this. And it's not difficult. Don't try to make more out of something that's simple. We can add things, but make sure when you add something to your programs that you've looked at this and made sure it's not toxic to you or something you should wait to do. You know, not everything out there, even though it touts itself as being the next miracle thing, be very cautious, because this is sales pitches. In today's world, most people get away with saying just about anything. Finally, I think the FDA came down on glucosamine and chondroitin for saying that it rebuilds cartilage and bone. That's an out-and-out lie. These are sulfur compounds. But, you know, and that's why you need a protection agency that is truly that. But really, these agencies need to be ran by the private sector because there's too much corruption in the federal area. So they need to be canceled, terminated, and redone with folk that have hearts and love and understands things. You don't. None of these people understand chemistry anyway. They don't understand any of that anyway. Even the medical doctors don't. So don't fall. They've created one big intellectual jargon that's just that, jargon. All right. Now, I am on the 14-week herbal cleanse. The third week, and was giving the herbs in small doses after checking with your staff to my 16-year-old Himalayan male kitty. His name is Wookie. I like that. My little Shih Tzu looks like Wookie. Last January, he got a horrible kidney infection and damaged his kidneys. Well, remember that you don't contract these things, you create these things. And dogs have a very difficult way to go because all the canines, we've talked about this before, is considered to have urinary tract weaknesses in the breeds, all of them, at some degree or another. That's why you see the hips and all these things going down. And they're going down for the same reason we go down, because the kidneys control their lymph systems like it does ours. Oh, they're not something special and outside of the human body. Don't have to travel too far there to understand that you're going to have lymphatic problems. So when you see these infections, or what they call infections and stuff, it's just a point where the lymph system got bad enough where bacterium now has to help clean that up. But the problem lies within the tissues themselves. And so you always have to go after your dog's kidneys and adrenal glands. That's almost a given. Let me see here. His vet said he has to be on subcutaneous sodium chloride every other day for the rest of his life. Now, that's bull crap. No, but you could run a little sodium bicarbonate in him a little bit, put it in the drinking water maybe a little bit, and get a little bit of alkalization going on into the kidneys to kind of cool them down a little bit. But I would give kidney formulas and one lymphatic formula. I don't know, how big is Wookie? 6-year-old Himalayan male kitty. Oh, it's a kitty. That's right, it's a kitty. Well, this is not a dog, huh? All I can say is I only use the herbs on the cats and the raw foods. That's all you can do with the kitties. Can't do as far as I know, not too many fruits or vegetables to the kitties, but it's important to understand why. Their digestive tract is totally different than omnivores and frugivores and herbivores. They're very, very little absorption, more smooth as opposed to ringed. GI tract, that's for optimum absorption, minimal absorption in carnivores, and the reason is obvious. Their main consumption is proteins, and proteins damages the human body too much, all bodies too much, even dogs. You have to be careful. If you give your dog too much protein, you can get rectal bleeding. So you have to be real careful, you know, about proteins. The myth of the century is proteins. The myth of the century. And we've got to break that, because it's opposite is true. Proteins are very dangerous. That's why you need to consume them in moderation and more in their simple forms of amino acids. Carbon is the main need of life here. So anyway, every other day for the rest of his life. He is also hyperthyroid. Well, that is, if he's hyperthyroid, then detox is the only way. So I would do one lymphatic, one kidney formula. I wouldn't touch the endocrine glands if he's hyper. I would just kind of detoxify the kitty with lymph and kidney. Sure be nice to do a little adrenal or something there with that, but I don't know. Hyper stages of anything means that the tissues are hyperactive. Now you have to understand that acids there's all levels of acids. Initially, as acids accumulate, hyperactivity can take place. You can have hyperactivity of the thyroid from just mucus and being acidic in the thyroid gland. Remember, all blood and lymph flows everywhere. So it doesn't matter where the organs or glands are, they're just a bunch of cells with blood and lymph flowing to them and from them. And that's all that is. Whatever they produce, of course, then is dealt with through the blood, blah, 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 and I don't know how much through the lymph. There's not a lot of understanding if there's anything glands produce that's sent through the lymph. Which steroids would come to my mind if there was any particular one, it would be corticosteroids. I don't know how much corticosteroids are driven through the lymph as opposed to the blood. Might be why that you could be low in corticosteroids to fight acidosis, but show normal in the blood. You know, who knows? But blood work never, in my opinion, and I've had 45 years of looking at blood work and taking blood chemistry seminars quite a bit to learn about that allopathically. I think it's beating down a wrong bush. I've seen a lot of stats on your steroids and hormones through blood and saliva, and you could tell a lot more through symptomology, in my opinion, in looking at that. And it doesn't matter because what we do is get things healthy. If you play with the intellectual jargon, well, I need more estrogen, I need less progesterone, or I need more progesterone, less estrogen, I need this, I need that, you're playing a game that's not a good game. Because by supplementing either bioidenticals, which is just simply trying to get them set for you, you're still taking hormones and steroids. Can't do it, not be happy and not lose your gland, remember that. Can't take what your body needs to produce, but you can get the gland healthy, and that then will produce your steroids or hormones or neurotransmitters, whatever, in the level that you need them for your level of awareness and activity, etc., etc., etc. We are individual in that way, and that's why you can't sit there and use steroids and hormones on people without understanding that, and then you're guessing and playing something real bad. If you have inflammation in the body, what is going on with you? Your acids are backing up. Well, what system deals with acids? That's your lymph system, and your kidneys and adrenal glands and your skin are the major players in the elimination of these acids. And you must realize that the kidneys can stop filtering these acids only in a minor way, and pretty soon you start backing up. You see swelling, you see cysts, you see boils, you see tumors, things like this backing up in the body. It's just sewage backing up. That's all it is. Don't be scared of them. These are just sewage backing up. The medical doctor got everybody scared of everything. Sad, because if you go that way, you're bucking on 3. All these facts are coming out at 3, although with the medical doctor in Texas, Berinsky. His film showed a 6% oncology survival rate after 5 years, where all the research I'm getting is only 3. So 3 is even 6 is... So this is important for the world to know truth. If you lie to people like that in the medical profession, the karma is overwhelming. And so when you see souls coming back and going through things, it could have been an oncologist that gave a lot of chemo to people, and now they're going through the same thing. Hard to judge. And you can't judge. You try not to. I know I probably slip and go, oh, yeah. Try not to, because it is what it is. But everything is blowback time, and that's why get yourselves right, and you don't have that happening to you. Everything is cause and effect driven, whether you can see the cause of that or not. That's the problem. God has created these worlds so much that a lot of people are working, a lot of souls are still working on karma from way back. They have no clue. All the karma you're creating now won't be burned off for lifetimes maybe. That's why you can do it now. Especially those of you who are suffering. You can burn through this, and I can show you spiritually how to burn through it, and you're done. Then you have conscious dreaming. You have fun. Remember the movie Michael? I love that. It gives you a good example. All right, let me see here. After finding you through Jermaine, hey Jermaine, how are you doing, honey? One of your breast cancer clients and watching innumerable YouTubes, I don't believe it. No, but you use herbs. That's the beauty of herbs, my God. If you don't become an herb lover after you use them, I don't know. They can do things foods can't. They just can get in there and do things even fruit can't. They're those magic little workers that are incredible. I can't say enough good about them. Anybody that ever think that herbs can never let any government take away your herbs. This should be riots in the street and everything else, because the herbs are our only medicinos that have a value for you. Pharmaceuticals, no brainer. Might need a few, to deal with what we've created, but in time, we can change the whole pattern. And people don't have to turn to those bizarre toxic chemicals to deal with it. Only in surgeries, and a few things like that. However, he has stopped eating and his ideal weight is 10 pounds and he was only 7.6 pounds. Anyway, I have been having to force feed him raw organic chicken liver, lean ground beef, and chicken breast, but we both hate it. Well, I'll say this, you get with the herbs. That's the only thing I can tell you. They can deal with the herbs. I wonder about some pre-digested vegetable matter. Remember carnivores like to go to the gut of animals when they kill them because that's pre-digested proteins. Vegetable matter's pre-digested. Carnivores cannot handle vegetables because, matter of fact, very few animals can handle vegetables, not even Homo sapiens well. It takes a herbivore that has more than one stomach and an extensively long digestive system to handle that. So, only a few people can actually handle vegetables, but in the gut of a herbivore, you have this vegetable matter being digested, so it's considered pre-digested protein because vegetables are proteins, as is fruits. All foods, anything that has shape has amino acids, and that, of course, is the protein of the food, in a way of looking at that. Yesterday he took a turn for the worse, grew very depressed and staggered around and threw up all his food and herbals undigested. Yeah, I thought his kidneys had shut down. Yeah, that's the first thing I thought too. So I consulted Drew and he recommended going more slowly and fewer herbs, kidney and lymph and parasite M and G. I would just do kidney and lymph and parasite M. That's all you really need to do. It's just a few drops of each one of those 3 or 4 times a day. He is a bit better today, but will not eat, and I'm very concerned that he will fast to death, as cats will do that. Yeah, I know it. Just see what you can do to fix him up something delicious. Because if you're using the herbs, it won't matter. If you can go to the pet store and get something he will eat that's delicious, I'd play with that a little bit. There's so much organic stuff out there in these pet stores and everything, and play with that a little bit. At the same time, use a little bit of kidney. 10 pounds, what are you talking about? At least 2 or 3 drops of kidney and 2 or 3 drops. I do 3 drops of kidney and 3 drops of lymphatic 1. And then I'd love to see that cat on an adrenal, but parasite M for a little bit. You don't have to overdo it. That's for, excessive bacteria and fungus and things like that. The most important thing would be kidney and lymph. And then if we didn't have a hyperthyroid, the endocrine gland would be the perfect one. But maybe something for the adrenals would help the cat turn them on a little bit more. The adrenals are probably real sluggish, and of course it probably pulls them away. So hitting those adrenal glands a little bit is going to hit neurotransmitters, and that could be a little more exciting for the kitty. So I would do that if I could. I know, I tell you, it's something that I do not know if it is advisable to alkalize a carnivore. Well, I've always said you have to use them, to save them, you have to use the herbs and stuff, and cats have. I've seen them eat grasses, but you just have to use the herbs, and I'd find something goody that he liked to keep him eating a little bit. At the same time, go after those kidneys and lymph and adrenal glands. That'd be where I'd be going. Parasite M for maybe a bottle. Even a bottle's going to last forever. I don't even know if I'd do a whole bottle on a kitty like that. You know, I mean, maybe a month worth. That's about all I'd say, but mark your bottles kitty on there so you know which ones are for your cat. But you can put them all in the same bottle and mix them together. Parasite M, lymphatic one, kidney one, and maybe adrenal. And then shake it up. And there would be, say, 4 formulas. That's 3 drops apiece, so that's 12 drops. So you could figure that up. Maybe a quarter of a drop will fill. You know, herbs are a little strong, so that might cause some vomiting too on the cat. They are a little strong, but that's how you make things open up. So I'm thinking that those are the things I would probably do with that. If any of you got any suggestions, this lady could use it. Her name's Connie. Oh yes, he has a weird addiction. He loves to lick plastic. There's some weird stuff out there. Who knows? He has been doing it for years, and I do not know how to stop him. Yeah, those polyphenols and all those things could cause kidney damage. And it can't be good for him, yeah, probably neurotoxic or something. So, but get that lymphatic one, kidney one, adrenal. I think you need to kick up that adrenal gland a little bit on him. And then maybe some Parasite M, and go for a while down that road. Find some goody treats that are organic for him in stores. Something, you know, special and stuff. Maybe some treats to excite him, or little playthings to excite him. You know, just get the cat turned on a little bit about life again. Especially like plastic grocery bags. I speculate that the outgassing, which I understand is, yeah, probably xanoestrogen. Well, I have to say that if he has hyperthyroidism, that's going to give the cat a lot of energy. But if the cat hasn't got a lot of energy and more lethargic, that would be hypo. The reason is, if this cat is craving steroids and stuff, that's the adrenal glands. And that's why I say it might not hurt to go after the little kitty's adrenal glands. Turn them on a little bit. That'll help with the estrogens and all that and stuff. And maybe this is, you know, something that's, you know, that's there. I am concerned that it has burned out his olfactory organs, Jacob's gland, and sense of smell. Is this possible? I hope not. Do you have any opinions about this weird fetish? Yeah, no. You know, other than deficiency within the body. You know, when you're deficient in something, you tend to go with something that has a chemical makeup of that. It's possible. You know, or there's just some attraction for some kind of chemical that trips memory in the kitty. You know, but so other than that, I really don't. But I would keep. Thanks, Connie. I would definitely keep detoxifying the young man and go after him in that way. See, it's difficult with the cats. The dogs, to me, are so much easier, but the cats, so much more difficult. But I would be thinking about their emotional components. You know, cats are a little strange that way, and get them playthings and new stuff every few days or something. And, you know, when I go to the pet store, I always come home with something. So a little chihuahua, she's going, "What you got?" You know, you might find something there that he can take care of. Life alive. Dr. Robert, when I play sports for more than an hour, I need 3 days to come back to a state of happiness and comfort in my physical. Wow. Wow. Is that because I am putting my body in an acidic state when exercising? Well, totally are. I mean, it's well known. I don't know. I say that's well known, but is it well known? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we know things, but do we know things? I mean, look at these athletes that they're just buffing them up on high proteins and starches and stuff, and it's like, no. These poor guys they're gonna have short careers, and you know, or the arthritises. Everyone sees that. I see all the RAs and the athletes and things, and it's like, oh, guys, no. Pump the green drinks. Get away from the proteins. You know, don't worry about size as much as strength, power, and agility. Size not always matters. But this is exactly what happens. And another thing here you might think about is your adrenal glands. You know, sometimes you get those spurts of energy and you burn, and then you burn them out. So I would work on my adrenal glands, my kidneys, because we've talked a lot about this, that inactivity, of course, lactic acid, but of course all the other acids, we know of lactic acid because of the muscles, but all your other acids from increased oxidation and increased activity, of course, is going to increase the use of chemicals and therefore the creating of byproducts of chemicals. And therefore, most of these byproducts, as you've just mentioned, are acids, and therefore you're creating an acid state. Well, that is a very enervating state, to be honest with you. It's a very enervating, it's very dehydrating, so that's a big deal. But also you must think neurologically. And sometimes when you overwork the nervous system, the nervous system needs to be recharged. This is why you sleep. If you don't get away from your body sometime, you can burn your body out. You know, the mind is very powerful to a human body. The human body is just a little mechanical machine. I mean, it's conscious, but it's not like it's an entity unto itself in a way of looking at this. You're the entity that's supplying the energy to maintain the cells and everything else there, the fundamental energy. But there seems to be an external need, unless you're a Betharian who've conquered that external need of energy. But the adrenal glands would be where I would be looking at a little bit here too, my friend, because that can burn out. And that's your endurance, that's your neurotransmitters, and of course that's the worker bee, that's your running and all your activities, your autonomic. So that would be a big area I'd go to, and of course what that would be the kidneys. So therefore you would want to really make sure you're filtering because of your knees, your hips, that sort of thing. If you start feeling them during your activity, that's a problem. So I think you're right on totally with that, except I do believe your adrenals are a lot more involved there. Is there any drink or ways to help the body heal faster before and after long training? You might, a big hug to you too, my friend. You might not believe this, but the best after training is fruit juices. Oh yeah, start cleaning out the acids you just created. Any type of fruit juice, grape juice, raw, of course, energizing. I mean, you're talking about the highest energy of all the foods on the planet is fruit and berry energy. I mean, this is energy, viable energy. Once you get your obstructions out of the body, you get your kidneys filtering and everything, your endurance levels will go way up and you won't have this blowback here. You'll just be bored, nothing to do. You have plenty of energy. You know, and that's where you can go with this. So I'd detoxify myself, start pulling all this mucus and acids out of the body, which is creating obstructions, which is resistance to the flow of energy. I would start cleaning all these obstructions out, again, of mucus and acids and all these chemicals we've ingested. And then just watch that energy build, and then there's no breaking that. Especially when you learn to get out of your mind a little bit, because the mind burns energy too. So if you're in a position of living in the present moment, in the now, you're not burning energy, you're channeling it. And so it's just flowing through you like a river of love and light and beauty. Good stuff. But it's exactly what you need to do. Get on the adrenals, get your kidneys, and get your body cleaned out there, my dear one. And you'll have endurance to knock everyone out of the park. Cool stuff. Let me see here. Not a member. Christian. Tammy. This is Tammy. Message. I have had a brain tumor removed. Did you see that where Biden's son just lost it? You know, you have to ask yourself. Very few people die of these tumors and things. They generally die from the chemo or radiation they've achieved. And I've said this before, I was watching this surgical show, and this black surgeon had this, she was about 12 years old, had her brain opened up. And he's sitting there on the chair with her brain open, talking to the camera. And he's saying to the camera that, yes, this is the second time I've been in here or something, and they said, this tumor's from the chemo and radiation we gave her. Just as if it was nothing. Just as if it was nothing. And I'm going, oh my God. So, man, that's something else here. Which has receptors for progesterone and estrogen, and appears to be hormonally driven. I have concerns about wild yam due to its hormone-like effects in the body. The tumor was partially removed and could regrow. I am also wondering about the estrogens in red clover. I have read that the plant estrogens in soy products are beneficial, but they definitely initiate the tumor site. They definitely irritate the tumor site, and I have a right to be concerned. Am I right to be concerned? I think you're very right to be concerned about soy estrogen. Soy initiates or turns on estrogen receptors, and that's what's going on there. I don't think when you're dealing in, let me see, which one did you ask about? Wild yam. I don't know. I don't think so. I think you're going to find more of an anti-inflammatory effect of wild yam, which is really good. These are precursors. These are not actual steroids. So that would, but of all the steroids, you would want your corticosteroids. You wouldn't, you're right, want your estrogens because they're acidic. But notice that when you take the soy, and it cannot even be from the estrogen kick of the soy, it can also be from the acid of soy. Soy is very acidic. So you have to consider that anything acidic in the body, you're going to feel that site because it's highly acidic. Now here's the thing. You got to get this tumor out of there. Period. End of story. It's not about if it could grow. It's of the lymph system. It will grow because surgically you haven't fixed anything. You've just removed. You have to fix why you have it. So this is vital, dear one, that you address this and get the rest of that damn tumor out of there. Kidneys and adrenals. Focus, filter, all right? GI tract, your head's sitting right up on your GI tract. Get that cleaned out. GI broom, stomach and bowel number ones. Go after that kidney filtration. Get your kidneys filtering. You must do this because the filtration then allows a pathway for this to drain. Work on those neural lymphatic points down your back daily. And get this opened up, this lymph drainage opened up. Hot and cold applications to the head. Stay away from proteins. Put yourself on a grape fast. Don't take that tumor as going to stay there. Get it out. Essential, because nothing stays the same, my dear one. And when it's the lymph system, it only can grow unless you fix the lymph system. So this is a must-do. This isn't, we sit and watch this. There's no sitting and watching tumors because I can just tell you what's going to happen. It's a no-brainer. Very few people go through surgeries and the tumor stays the same. I don't even know anyone. So you're right in so many ways. And one way, Tammy, get this thing out of there. Very, very important. I wouldn't worry about my hormones or things like that. Red clover's a good lymphatic herb. I wouldn't even worry about it. I'm not sure that I would mess with wild yam at all right now anyway. It's an anti-inflammatory. We use it in female formulas. It's a progesterone precursor, so to speak. I would be working on my kidneys. I'd be working on my adrenal glands, my GI tract, and my lymph system aggressively. I would candle my ears. I would start trying to do everything that promotes a cold and flu-like symptom, which is detox, detox, detox. Find somebody that's sick and go hug them. Do whatever you need to do to trip yourself and go out and play in the snow bare naked. I don't care. Anything to trip a cold and flu, and you're going to start discharging tons of mucus out of the head. That'll give you a reprieve a little bit. But you've got to get this out of here, honey, the right way, okay? Very important. So if you can't do that, have someone here work with you because you don't sit and just let this sit there. And you don't want to develop any scar tissue or anything like that in the head from the surgery. See, there's a lot of things to think about in these sort of problems and going surgically. And when you go in and only have it partially removed surgically, I don't know. If its symptoms are warning that, yes. If not, you go on a fast and start getting it out because once you open up tissue, You know, you can scar and develop some serious problems. So you've got to go through this anyway. You've got to go through detox irregardless, because you got to fix why you have the brain tumor. And the why is always the lymph system. These are lymphomas. These are the lymph system. Doesn't have to be cancerous. Who cares? Matter of fact, who cares if a tumor has cancer cells in it or not? Who cares? That is an isolated batch of fluid that your body felt it was so acidic it had to isolate it. Now, it's interstitial fluid, so it can be around cells, and yes, those cells are going to be chewed up, absolutely. But they're already in a protective sac. A tumor is a protective sac, a pocket. It's already isolated. You don't have to worry about it. And it'll keep growing when you keep producing acid that you can't eliminate. Open up the pathway through the kidneys and the tumor will stop growing. Not opening up the pathway and then getting to where the tumor is, that's the other thing. You've got to not only get your kidneys filtering, but it takes a while to open up the pathway to the lymph nodes and then to the tumor. Tumors are on the other side of the lymph nodes by the cells. So that's why it's so important. They can be on this side, I guess, but you'll find them on the other side more than not. And you just have to open up these pathways to get this lymph to start draining. If you go punching on the tumor, you've just opened up a sac the body felt was so poisonous and so cell effective it needed to isolate that. Do you need a biopsy to tell if it's cancerous or not? Who cares? What does it change anything? No. It changes your idea of giving chemo, blah, 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 blah. That's the insanity of those guys. And that will be changing. Let me tell you, it's not going to be fun for them, because this is Slaughter City. So get this tumor out of here, and that's nothing but opening up the pathway. You don't have to biopsy the tumor. Many times that explodes your problem. And it takes a while to get to there. Well, you start damaging all kinds of cells then, because now it's just burning, 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 burning. This is hot, burning sewage. So the body isolates it for your protection. Now, understanding the system as you guys do, you're miles ahead of every other human on this planet. If you don't understand your lymph system, there's no getting well, because you don't understand what you're up against. So you're treating your problems. And you can't treat your problems, Mr. Phone. Okay. Get that out of there, sweetheart. No. I'd be get on the 14-week program or have someone connect here with Marcy, me, or Jen, and get this out of here. Don't monkey around with that. Alex. Hi, Alex. I just have one question. Hi, sweetheart.
Are you filming?
Yeah.
No, don't wait.
That's okay.
You're filming.
What you got?
I have Attila's mom.
Oh.
Very vibrant woman. I just talked with her for a while.
Yeah.
The creator of the biofeedback machine in Hungary.
Yeah.
She's in contact with them. They want to team up with you.
Okay.
And use your education and
All
protocols.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yep.
Oh, I like that.
And then she also
You want me to call her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then she wanted to know. She's like, I have a couple questions about my health, but I can't. I'm in the store Tuesday through Friday. It's like, well, he's not here on Mondays, but
I'll call her today. I'll call her.
she is all fired
I've got to
up.
call this lady. I'll call her here in just a minute. I just have a couple more.
Okay. You don't have to wave me in when you're filming. I just kind of peek through.
Well, you know, I never know how important things are. Yeah. Thanks. I just have one question. When I eat a bunch of fruit in a day, I get itchy palm or foot soon after about 5 or 10 minutes. Probably fungus. You know, fungus don't like fruits very well. Yeah, definitely can be fungus, itchy, and that sort of thing. I mean, most of us have fungus all through us. And you're going to always have some level of fungus because there's fermentation at various levels in the body. So you're going to see some of this. But the fact that we've been starch eaters with weak adrenal glands has created so much fungal problems. And then, sorry for all you guys with the sulfurs in you, but now you've got an aphrodisiac going on there. So some people have so much fungus it's not even funny anymore. And then a lot of people like the fermented foods. Well, that's fungal foods. You know, when you ferment your foods, fungus is involved and always will be involved. So people bitch about fungus, but then they want to eat fermented foods. It's like, okay. I don't know. You know, life is what it is, I guess. I also detect the smell of ammonia. Yep. But work on your adrenal glands. You're having too much complex sugar and you're not converting it properly. So you might have sugar metabolism problems, and that would be important to understand, and that would give you set up for the fungus too, because if you're not properly, let's say, metabolizing your sugars through adrenal steroids, then you're going to have fungus helping you, because not only are you going to have fat buildup, but you're going to have high fungus. So it's just because fermentation is what you see out of the carbon chain, putrefaction out of the nitrogen chains. So that's just what this is. And that can create alkalosis, by the way, because this is of the alkaline side. Sometimes in my nose, right after, like within 5 or 10 minutes or less. Well, yeah, I would hit the kidneys and adrenals and start detoxing, put myself on a grape fast or something like that. Or if you have to, cut back to the salads and green drinks and only do 1 fruit meal a day, and use your green drinks to get you to a point to where you reach your plateau and then jump into your fruits. At that same time, while you're doing that, I'd load myself down with Parasite M or any other antifungal, not colloidal silver, but an herbal antifungal. And that'll help you immensely working on that. But get into your kidneys, get into your adrenals, and get into your lymph system. Real important to work on that, my friend. If you or anyone knows that could be the issue, yeah, that's what I say. To my knowledge, I am not a diabetic. I'm 33. But you could still be seeing some sugar metabolism problems. And that's just weak adrenal glands. And it could mess with your stats a little bit, but enough to say that. You could even have a little low blood sugar. Doesn't have to be hyper. It can be hypoglycemia. So, and it could be, you could have blood sugars in the 60s or 70s and have a little hypoglycemia that way. Or your blood sugar could be, say, above 100, hey, say 105, 110, that would create the same type of scenario. So I'd go after my adrenals, my kidneys, get my lymph moving, get a picture of your eyes, take a look at your lymph system and what you're up against. But this is just all through you, and you just have to work that out of you. But that's easy to do. Get your kidneys filtering and all that sort of thing. But that's just showing that you'll have high fungus in the body, and of course that ammonia smell, fermentation. But again, going back to fixing sugar metabolism, fixing your adrenals, and getting your body cleaned out will clean all that out. I've even seen that problem in me when I do too many complex sugars. If I run a cheat, I can see that. It's easy to see those things once you get used to identifying the body and what's going on there. Then you can tell what's up, what's down, that sort of thing. Let me see here. This is Tommy. Oh, wow. I have been diagnosed with HSV2. I want to detox and then shift to a mostly fruitarian lifestyle afterwards in order to get rid of my HSV2. Well, fruit is a good way to get rid of that. When you get these virals and things, the best way is detoxification is the only way to get rid of these things. I don't know what any viral load like that may go on. It says in order to get rid of my HSV2 viral load. Viral loads are just easy to get. I mean, they're toxible. They're proteins, and they're just detoxable out of the body. But you got to do the lymph system thing and go through that, because that's where they are. And of course, a lot of virals are just hanging out. We talked a lot about viral loads, the difference between having viral loads and actually attachments. And the difference would be simply HIV or AIDS, or Hep C and hepatitis. Hep C viral loads, those sort of things. Which supplements should I use with type of detox diet? Well, admittingly have drank too much historically. Too much information. No, again, a lot of mucus and stuff like this are formed with alcohols and stuff, irritating mucoses and stuff. But enough to say, just detox your body out. It's the only way you can get rid of viral loads, and I don't care which viral loads. Just detox your body out. Go into the kidneys. So you want to make sure you do 2 kidney formulas. Look at our 14-week protocol. You get a good example of my focus. You want to probably stay on Parasite M and G for a month to kind of get all the gnarlies out. And they're supposed to be antivirals too, but really, when I look at virals, and we've dealt with so many viral load people, both in HIV, Hep C, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, Lyme's, you just detox. It's the only remedy. The only remedy. There's no killing proteins. The only remedy is detoxification. Medical doctors have tried to kill virals for years, and take a look at Lamisil. Lamisil is an antifungal, and that antifungal has caused a lot of fatal events. I didn't know this till we saw a special on Lamisil, part of a drug chain. I'd have to remember the chemistry involved, but I was just looking at it so much. But still, Lamisil for toe fungus causing fatal events. Oh my God. But thanks a lot there, my friend, for this. Thanks a lot, Tommy. Kidney filtering and salt. I've been experiencing with your ideas over the last few months and have been watching my urine, which has been clear most of all of the time, except for a couple of isolated incidents where it was very cloudy. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, you're getting it on the move, it sounds like. Wondering if that would be normal. Yeah, this is like things break loose little at a time, break loose little at a time, break loose little at a time. The fact that you're seeing that in the urine at times is good. And you just keep working it, keep working it, keep working, keep hydrating interstitially, meaning keep with the raw foods and stuff, keep working with the kidney formulas, the lymphatic formulas, and the adrenals, clean up your bowels, and a little at a time you'll start seeing more filtration, and you don't have to see massive filtration every time you pee, but it should be a pretty good filtration, at least most of the time. Like clots of waste letting loose. Yeah, exactly what I think too. And you'll see mucus balls in the urine sometimes in threads. And now they see enough of them now that they are adding them to urinalysis in labs. So I was amazed to see that. And I saw another one just the other day. And once cleaned out, would it be normal to expect cloudiness in the urine all of the time? My opinion is most of the time, absolutely. You might be on a water binge or something and you might not see it so much and you just might have a day of good and bad, but if you're doing fairly a good amount of raw, 50-50 at least, or 75-25, you should see some decent settlement coming out. If you do too many cooked foods, you start affecting the kidneys. When you start doing proteins again, this starts inflaming the kidneys again. So that's what I would do. My other question is, I'm planning a 2-month watermelon feast. And I love the way you put that. And it's just what it is. It's a 2-month watermelon feast. Oh, I am so frustrated. I want some good watermelon so bad. Oh my God, a good watermelon feast. Oh, some good Georgia, Indiana, Tennessee, North Carolina watermelons. Oh my God. It's killing me here, killing me. And wondering what your thoughts are on including salt or other minerals. Well, where I come from, we do put salt on watermelon. I can't believe that. If you're going to put salt on anything, use the Celtic or Himalayan or real salt. That's a little gray salt. It's full of chemistry. It's full of traces and microtraces. So if you're going to use a little of that on your watermelon, use that. But I wouldn't use any other minerals. Minerals are not well absorbable anyway. They're more electrical for the gut. But I would do the watermelon without that. If you want it just sort of taste a little bit, okay, once in a while, okay. But I would be careful with that. Hitting the body with minerals is not always a good thing. What organ or gland in the human body is involved in your mineral utilization? What gland or organ in your body is vital to your mineral utilization? Oh, I heard you, and I heard you. Yeah. Adrenal glands, steroids. So if you're running low zinc, low selenium, don't blame deficiencies, blame your adrenal glands. Fix your whole body before you blame deficiencies. All right, I think I'm going to have to cut this one off after this one. This is Kim. But I'm getting down there. I'll be back. I'm going to keep going, keep going. So, Kim, not sure how to go about getting some help for my friend who is diagnosed with hairy CLL? I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of it. Hairy CLL. He is a single dad with twin 6-year-old boys, and I have been doing quite a bit of research, which leads me to Dr. Morse. I know he has a lot of success with helping people boost their health. Naturally, thus allowing them to heal their bodies. My friend Liam, close with that, does not want to take the radiation pills. Oh, holy crap, but wants to fight this. He is sensitive to meds, so regular treatments are kind of out of the question. Holy crap. Well, I don't know what hairy CLL is to be able to tell you. But I can tell you it doesn't matter, because no matter what condition you see your cells or their performance at, the only way to reinstigate regeneration is to remove that which inspires degrading or degeneration. That's always going to be on the acid side, chemistry, and that is dealing with every friggin' cell in your body. They claim 100 trillion. Well, when I went to school, they claimed 76 trillion, and then 80 trillion. You know, I've been to many A&P classes through my life, and, you know, there's not too many real consistent thinking in that. Doesn't really matter. It's enough to say, though, that what breaks down cells is not on the alkaline side as a rule. 99.99% of what man deals with is acids, because acids are the byproducts of all chemical reactions, interactions, etc., etc., etc. So no matter what you see in the human body or where you see it at, whether it's inflammation or cells of actually, inflammation is on the outside of a cell, and inflammation is a natural immune response. So when someone says, I have inflammation, all right, their immune system is responding. To what? The key word, boys and girls, is protein/acids. I can just tell you, always. So you have to look at that, whether it's in the form of a viral or not. As a rule, you don't see a lot of interactions on virals and things. You don't. It's really, the body lives with viral loads. It's really the cell that makes all the difference of what's going to happen to that viral load. So this is all about the health and wellness of a cell and the fluids that take care of a cell. So no matter what you're diagnosed with, you want to think health. Don't think diseases and all the complications that go into their thought processes, which is insanity. You go to what you know to be true. I've been eating a lifestyle of acid-forming foods, and now, because of this, my organs and glands in my body have been broken down a little bit. On top of that sits your genetic weaknesses from the same thing, from the parents and the grandparents and everybody in the past who felt that eating dead animals and high proteins in their milks and grains was a good thing. Never has been a good thing for humans. An emergency needs, but of course, food is food, is it? So, you know, it's relearning things from a society that has lost their way. And if you don't believe our societies worldwide have lost their way in health, just take a look at the health of the human. It is disgustingly bad, and sadly so. So it's a major karmic field of working through. And it's sad because when you're out of their body traveling in some of these extremely expanded places, it's hard here. It's hard here. It's tough. And so you just get that body healthy, and you won't feel so much of the toughness of this world. Acids bite hard and burn back hard. So just go into there and get that fixed. If you want more information about this, let me know what this is. and I'll take a look at that. But it doesn't matter, tell you the truth, of what the cells are doing, what's breaking a cell down. So remember, inflammation's on the outside of a cell. When a cell can no longer eliminate waste, what do you think? When you no longer can eliminate waste, what happens to you? The whole body as a whole. So take that right down to the little cell and realize it starts at the little cell. So have fun with this and enjoy your journey into Wellville. It's so worth it. That the little stuff doesn't matter. Work through these things. I appreciate your questions, and you had some very good questions. And these are all important questions. And as we cover these different questions, it'll help fill in some of these missing pieces, I hope. That's why I love Q&A, because it allows me to expand on things that normally I wouldn't think about or that I don't hear about, but how you can correlate that down to the simplicity of chemistry and physics of the foods and the internal environment that you're creating. Because through your lifestyle, you're creating your internal environment. Do you have a sweet smelling, a fluids moving well, cells kicking butt in your body? Or do you have a highly mucoused up body full of strains of cobwebs of fungus and all this other stuff? Pain and acids breaking down and sucking calcium out of you, mutation of the body. Is that what's going on? So remember, under the acid sky, you're going to go down. Under the base sky, you're going to go up. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And you have fun with this and help others get their life back. It's so much fun and simple. And get people out of this lost field, the killing fields of medical thinking and pharmaceutical use. There's so many feel-good things out there in nature to make you feel good, to taste good. Just another level of experiencing the olfactories and the taste buds and just a much greater feeling of joy and happiness, because you've removed the obstructions to the flow of energy, and therefore energy or love and consciousness flows through you and uplifts you, and you ride on a golden current of love. Fun stuff. See you next video. Bye-bye. Now, I love that rock. Isn't that beautiful? That is a nice crystal. Well, I've got most everything in here done. And they just keep going on and on and on, those books. I love you guys.